sure that everything is fine, and I'll come back.
Procedure. So under Standing Order 106.2, the first vice chair must be a member of official opposition. I am now prepared to receive motions for the first vice chair. Ms. Bendayan. Yes, I would like to propose Simon-Pierre Savard-Tremblay as first vice chair of the committee. Mr. Savard-Tremblay can be nominated, but only as second vice chair. The first vice chair must come from the official opposition.
It's going to be Randy Ho.
Ah, désolé, je pensais qu'on était.
Ready.
So is there
Is it
any
you?
motion for the first vice chair who must be a member of the official opposition?
I nominate Tracy Gray.
Thank you, sir.
Accept the nomination. Thank you.
Are there any further motions? Seeing none, I declare Ms. Tracy Gray the first vice chair of the Standing Committee on International Trade. Okay. Maintenant, conformément.
All right. Now, under Standing Order 106.2, the second vice chair must be from another party of the opposition other than the official opposition party. I am now ready to receive motions for the second vice chair. And I think I'll give the floor to Ms. Bendayan. Thank you, and I'm sorry about that. Yes, that's right. So for second vice chair, I nominate Mr. Simon-Pierre Savard-Tremblay. It has been proposed by Ms. Bendayan that Simon-Pierre Savard-Tremblay be named second vice chair of the committee. Are there further motions? Seeing none, I declare Simon-Pierre Savard-Tremblay second vice chair of the committee.
Okay, Madam Clerk, can we proceed now? We can now proceed with the rest of the agenda here.
If it's the will of the committee, we can proceed with the routine motions.
Okay. So following the election here, so as you're all aware, the webcast will always show the person speaking rather than the entirety of the committee. To ensure an orderly meeting, I have to outline a few rules to follow. Interpretation in this video conference will work very much like in a regular committee meeting. You have the choice at the bottom of your screen of either floor, English, or French. As you are speaking, if you plan to alternate from one language to the other, you will need to also switch the interpretation channel, so it aligns with the language you are speaking. You may also want to allow for a short pause when switching languages. Before speaking, please wait until I recognize you by name. When you are ready to speak, you can click on your microphone icon to activate your mic. A reminder that all comments by members should be addressed through the chair. Should members need to request the floor, they should activate their mic and state that they have a point of order. If a member wishes to intervene on a point of order that has been raised by another member, they should use the raised hand function. This will signal to the chair your interest to speak. In order to do so, you should click on participants at the bottom of the screen. When the list pops up, you will see next to your name that you can click raise the hand. When speaking, please speak slowly and clearly. When you are not speaking, your mic should be on mute, and the use of headset is strongly encouraged. Should any technical challenges arise, and I'm sure they will, for example, in relation to interpretation or a problem with your audio arises, please advise the chair immediately and the technical team will work to resolve them. Please note that we may need to suspend during these times as we need to ensure all members are able to participate fully. So before we can get started, can everyone click on their screen in the top right-hand corner and ensure that they are all on gallery view? Is everyone on gallery view? With this view, we can all see all of the participants in a grid view, and it will ensure that all video participants we can see each other. If the committee wishes, we can now proceed to the consideration of routine motions.
Thank you, Madam Chair. May I present routine motions at this time?
Please go ahead.
Thank you. I will begin in English, and for the benefit of our translators, I will switch to French about midway through routine motions. So beginning with analyst services, that the committee retain as needed and at the discretion of the chair the services of one or more analysts from the Library of Parliament to assist it in its work. With respect to subcommittee on agenda and procedure, and that the subcommittee on agenda and procedure be established and composed of 5 members, the chair, 1 member from each party, and that the subcommittee work in the spirit of collaboration. With respect to a meeting without quorum.
Just a quick question, Madam Chair.
Yes,
Are we
please.
going to be dealing with these one at a time, or are we going to be dealing with them all together, or how is it your intention to proceed?
If we have unanimous consent, we can deal with them all on the completion of the presentation of the motions.
Okay, well, I do have some suggestions for some slight alterations, so I'll ask you how you want me to deal with those, if you want me to raise them as we, you know, as we hear the motion read, or if you want me to wait until the end and then go back.
Why don't we wait until, my suggestion is that if we wait until Ms. Badayan finishes, and then we will go to you, Mr. Blakey, for any other suggestions that you may have. Is that acceptable to the committee?
Point of order, Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr. Dhaliwal.
Madam Chair, we did this morning in the Immigration and Citizenship Committee. We just went one at a time. I mean, I think it's as fast as it is. Then it's not going to be confusion going back and forth. So I think we should do one topic at a time. Thank you.
Okay, then let's try it then. So Mr. Blakey, you'll have to indicate after Ms. Badayan has, we'll start again with the routine motions, and you'll have to indicate where you want to make an amendment or a change. Will that work for everybody?
That works for me.
Okay, Ms. Badayan, we'll go back to you.
No need to repeat motion 1 on my account.
Okay.
But I do have a suggestion for motion 2.
Is that on the subcommittee on agenda and procedure?
Yeah, just that we would add recognized in front of party, so that it would read partway through, the chair, 1 member from each recognized party, and that the subcommittee work in the spirit of collaboration.
Does anyone have any objection to that? So everyone's in favor of just adding that 1 word. Okay. All right. We want to continue, Ms. Badayan?
Yes, thank you. So with respect to a meeting without quorum, that the chair be authorized to hold meetings to receive evidence and to have that evidence printed when a quorum is not present, provided that at least 4 members are present, including 1 member of the opposition and 1 member of the government, but when traveling outside the parliamentary precinct, that the meeting begin after 15 minutes, regardless of members present.
And on that one, Madam Chair, if I may.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that a number of committees in this session have specified that there should be, within the 4 members present, 2 from government and 2 from opposition. So I would propose that change.
Any discussion on that?
That's exactly what we did on the Immigration Committee this morning.
So everyone's in favor of the proposed amendment by Mr. Blakey then. So it would be 2 from the government and 2 from opposition to comprise of the quorum. Okay, all right, everybody's good with that? All right, Ms. Fadayan, please continue.
Thank you. With respect to time for opening remarks and questioning of witnesses, that the witnesses be given 10 minutes for their opening statement, that at the discretion of the chair, during the questioning of witnesses, there be allocated 6 minutes for the first questioner of each party as follows: Conservative Party, Liberal Party, Bloc Québécois, New Democratic Party. For the second and subsequent rounds, the order and time for questioning be as follows: Conservative Party, 5 minutes, Liberal Party, 5 minutes, Conservative Party, 5 minutes, Liberal Party, 5 minutes, Bloc Québécois, 2.5 minutes, New Democratic Party, 2.5 minutes.
And again, Madam Chair, I have a change to suggest for that motion.
Okay, please.
I understand that the Procedure and House Affairs Committee and 14 committees in total so far this session have adopted a second rotation that goes Conservative Party 5 minutes, Liberal Party 5 minutes, Bloc Québécois 2.5 minutes, New Democratic Party 2.5 minutes, Conservative Party 5 minutes, and Liberal Party 5 minutes. So I propose that we change the second rotation to reflect the changes that other committees have made.
Any discussion on the proposed amendment by Mr. Blakey? All those in favor? Everyone's good? Yes, okay. Back to Ms. Badayan then. Thank you, Mr. Blakey.
Thank you.
Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Next, regarding document distribution, that the clerk of the committee be authorized to distribute documents to members of the committee only when the documents are available in both official languages, and that witnesses be advised accordingly.
Any discussion or comment? Everyone's in favor? Okay, please continue.
Merci.
Thank you. Regarding working meals, that the clerk of the committee be authorized to make the necessary arrangements to provide working meals for the committee and its subcommittees.
Okay, Mr. Dhaliwal?
Madam Chair, because we have changed a bit here now because most of the members will be, or some of the members will be joining by virtual. So the working meal should only be for the members that will be present in person.
Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Ms. Gray.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just for clarification, we might want to have the wording something to the effect that having people confirmed their physical presence for the meeting, just as a way of clarification, and then you know how many lunches to order.
Excellent. Absolutely. Okay.
Do we want
right.
to? Do we need like a certain period of time before the meeting that members would give notice? Like, is it 24 hours or 48 hours or anything like that?
Madam Clerk?
Yes, the catering need 48 hours notice before to cater some lunch, individual lunch in the meeting room.
So would you like
So
72 hours notice just to make your life a little less complicated?
I'm not sure it needs to be in the motion, but like there could be an understanding that I would send an email around asking who would be present in Ottawa, and I would provide a deadline in the email. Okay. All right, we're good with that. Okay, Mr. Dayan.
Pour les frais de déplacement et de séjour des témoins.
For travel accommodation, living expenses, that if requested, reasonable travel accommodation and living expenses be reimbursed to witnesses not exceeding 2 representatives per organization, provided that in exceptional circumstances, payment for more representatives be made at the discretion of the chair.
Question about this one, I really don't know, so I'm gonna maybe the clerk has some idea. I'm just wondering, in these times, if there are some people who might need a little bit of support in terms of like getting to where they could participate electronically, and if And if where we might otherwise have spent money to bring people to Ottawa, we might be able to assist in giving them the technical capacity, if they lack it, to be able to participate in meetings within reason. I'm not talking about buying them a computer or something like that. But I'm just wondering kind of what the understanding around that is, because the trade committee has less experience with this than some other committees. So I'm just wondering if some flexibility in that budget in order to be able to provide a little bit of technical assistance would be appropriate, or if it's not needed because the House is able to support witnesses from its own budget anyway. Or I'm just looking for a little bit of information on that point.
Can I ask our clerk if she would comment on that? Because I do think, and I agree with Mr. Blakey, we're in unusual times. And I think it's important if there's a small amount of dollars that has to be spent in order to ensure that we can get to hear witness. I think that's important as well. But Madam Clerk, have you any comment?
Well, in these days, by the motion that was adopted on September 23rd, all witnesses have to appear by video conference. So they will all be on Zoom. They're not coming to Ottawa. No witness in the room. This being said, if a witness needs to travel to get a good connection, that motion would then apply.
Okay.
And also we are providing witnesses who don't have headsets, a set of headsets to make sure that the sound is good. But as for buying computers, I'm not sure that would be in the, like, maybe they could rent someone. I don't know how this could work. It has to be on a case by case.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so this would allow them to travel to somewhere where they can get a good connection. Absolutely. And the House provides a headset in any event, and then they have the technical support of House staff if they need to download Zoom or whatever it is they need to do.
Oh,
okay.
Yes, and there are some tests done with the witnesses ahead of time by the House of Commons technicians.
Yep. Sounds good.
Yep, and we can deal with that on a case by case basis.
Yep.
Okay, Ms. Bedian, please continue.
For access to in-camera meetings, that, unless otherwise ordered, each committee member be allowed to have one staff member at an in-camera meeting, and that one additional person from each House officer's office be allowed to be present.
Okay, any comments? Everybody's okay with that? All right, continue on, please.
Madam Chair?
Oh, yes, Ms. Gray.
Thank you. I just wanted to have some clarification over in-camera meetings because I know that there's sometimes some differences there. So and looking at what other committees have done that sat over the summer. So wondering if we can just ensure for clarification point that for in-camera meetings that we do have it documented that that the member of parliaments can also have one staff member from each and then for each MP, and then from each House officer, the whip's office would also be allowed for in-camera, just so that it's clarified that occurs. And those would, of course, be over Zoom.
Exactly. Okay. Everyone is okay with that? Good. Thank you, Ms. Gray. Okay, Ms. Bedian, please continue.
For transcripts of in-camera meetings, that one copy of the transcript of each in-camera meeting be kept in the committee clerk's office for consultation by members of the committee or by their staff.
Okay. Everyone's all right with that? Okay. Continue, Ms. Bedian.
With respect to notice interpreted as 2 nights shall be required for any substantive motion to be considered by the committee unless the substantive motion relates directly to business then under consideration, provided that 1, the notice be filed with the clerk of the committee no later than 4 p.m. from Monday to Friday, that 2, the motion be distributed to members in both official languages by the clerk on the same day the said notice was transmitted if it was received no later than the deadline hour, and that 3 notices received after the deadline hour or on non-business days be deemed to have been received during the next business day, and that when the committee is traveling on official business, no substantive motions may be moved.
Okay, any comments? All those in favor? Everyone's okay with that? All right, please continue.
With respect to orders of reference from the House respecting bills, that in relation to orders of reference from the House respecting bills, A, the clerk of the committee shall, upon the committee receiving such an order of reference, write to each member who is not a member of a caucus represented on the committee to invite those members to file with the clerk of the committee in both official languages any amendments to the bill which is the subject of the said order, which they would suggest that the committee consider. B, suggested amendments filed pursuant to paragraph A at least 48 hours prior to the start of the clause-by-clause consideration of the bill to which the amendments relate shall be deemed to be proposed during the said consideration, provided that the committee may, by motion, vary this deadline in respect of a given bill. And C, during the clause-by-clause consideration of a bill, the chair shall allow a member who filed suggested amendments pursuant to paragraph A an opportunity to make brief representations in support of them.
Okay. Any discussion, comments? Okay, fine, thank you.
And finally, with respect to ministers' appearance, that whenever a minister appears before the committee, every effort should be made in order for the meeting to be televised.
Absolutely.
And then there's one more. With respect to participation of independent members, that a member of parliament who is not a member of a caucus represented on the committee and who seeks the right to speak during the questioning of witnesses ask a committee member beforehand to share that member's speaking time, and that the committee member inform the chair before witnesses are questioned that they intend to share their time with a member who is not a member of a caucus represented on the committee, and that the chair write to the members of parliament who are not members of a caucus represented on the committee to inform them of this process.
Okay. Any further comments on those routine motions? Not seeing any. Yes, Ms. Gray.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just wondering if you can provide some clarification on the subcommittee, because for this particular committee, historically, it's something that hasn't really been utilized. And so if you can maybe provide some clarification, what the terms of reference are for that. I think, based on the fact that we're in this unique stage and committees can be mobilized very quickly, we don't all have to physically get together, and, a committee of the whole can occur very efficiently and very quickly. I'm just wondering what the purpose of the subcommittee would be. What would they be doing differently? How often? What would be the purpose? This committee only sat once since March, so I think it encompasses us to all be, meeting together as frequently as we can. So I'm just wondering if you can provide some clarification what that would look like.
Okay. Mr. Dhaliwal, did I see your hand up? Did you want to comment?
Yes, Madam Chair. What we did is this morning on the meeting subcommittee on agenda and procedure, we adopted that the subcommittee on agenda and procedure be established and to be composed of 5 members, the chair, 1 member from each party, and that the subcommittee work in a spirit of collaboration.
Can I just throw something out then in answer to Ms. Gray? In our last session, and Mr. Hoback, I appreciate your comments too, because you've been on the committee quite a while. We did not use the subcommittee part. We would have a discussion amongst all of us as committee members, decide the priorities of the different items that each party cared about, that wanted to see some work done on, and we did it all as a group rather than having a separate subcommittee, even though we never utilized it. Mr. Hoback, do you have some comments on that?
Yeah, Chair, we've got along so well as a committee. When we were set up together, we tended to see basically either we'd negotiate it beforehand or we'd have it all figured out in the committee amongst ourselves. A subcommittee at the time we just thought was a waste of time because it had to come back to the committee to be authorized anyways. So the subcommittee go out and do all this work and come back to the main committee, and then all of a sudden they all get voted down. So you might as well just do it all in the main committee and be done with it. And then we all know where we're going, and it gives everybody a chance to have their input into the direction in which way the committee should structure or should travel. Or travel may not be the right word, but in which way it should go to.
Any further comments on that that idea that we won't utilize the subcommittee, we will just utilize the whole committee to establish our priorities? Any other discussion on that point? Everybody okay with that? Mr. Blakey?
I think Mr. Sheehan had his hand raised there. He had
Okay, you gotta wave it up like this so
Sorry.
I can
Sorry
make
about
sure
that.
I see it.
Everyone, I'm just agreeing with everyone that, including the new vice chair, congratulations. And to Randy's point is that, we have that in our pocket, but we never used it. So I think that we can form it through resolution today, but I think, agreement amongst ourselves is that I can't remember ever using it as well. If we ever needed to, I suppose it would be in the pocket, but we could all agree as a committee that, the subcommittee would, we would direct the subcommittee to do something. However, we've never used it, but it's just a good tool to have in the toolbox that we never have used, but hey, you never know when you need that tool. So.
Okay. Any further comments on that? Is everyone okay with that? All right. So we will continue to function as we did prior. So thank you for raising that, Ms. Gray. So we need to take a vote now. All those in favor of the routine motions as amended?
I have Madam Chair, just a quick question. It went pretty fast, but as to the in cameras, do we really want all staff to be there? I think traditionally we have a member from every whip's office only in camera meeting. So I know it went fast. I wasn't able to interject then, but my suggestion would be for members and one member from the whip staff on an in camera meeting only.
Okay, Mr. Dhaliwal, are you on the same issue? And then I have Mr. Savard Tremblay. Mr. Dhaliwal?
Yes, I would like to bring in when it goes to in-camera meetings. I would like to bring in a routine motion that the committee may meet in camera only for the following purposes: to consider a draft report, to attend briefings concerning national security, to consider lists of witnesses, for any other reason with the unanimous consent of the committee. That all votes taken in camera, with the exception of votes regarding the consideration of draft reports, be recorded in the minutes of proceedings, including how each member voted when recorded votes are requested. That any motion to sit in camera is debatable and amendable.
Mr. Savard Tremblay.
Mr. Savard Tremblay. Yes, I had a question. Before we end debate on these motions, I would like to congratulate the chair. Chair mentioned the parliamentary staff, and so they're also going to have Zoom codes so that they can access the meeting remotely?
I'm not sure. Madam Clerk?
As for now, the motion reads that every MP has the right to have one staff member attending the in-camera meeting, plus a member from the leader and a member from the whip's office. I tried to find out how this would be done before the meeting, and to be frank, I received contradictory information. But to my knowledge, but please, I will get back to you on that. But to my knowledge, during the summer, every MP could have one member of his staff and the leader, one member from the leader's office and one member from the whip's office by Zoom, and they received the link, they received the password, but the camera were not open. Okay, so only the members had the camera open, but the staff could listen to the meeting. But I say that with please take that with carefully, because I need to double check that.
Okay.
And Ms. Groh, if I can speak to you about the motion, if you can take a minute off, I would like to speak to you about the motion tabled by Mr. Dhaliwal, please.
Okay, can we, before we suspend for a few minutes, Mr. Dhaliwal, you wanted to say something about the motion that you moved regarding in camera?
No, on that one is fine, Madam Chair, but on the other one, the one where the witnesses come and speak, instead of allotting them 10 minutes, I think we should have only 5 minutes, because if there are two from...
No, you're changing things.
Okay.
Why don't we just deal with one motion at a time, Chair?
Yeah,
and then...
let's. So I'm going to suspend. I don't know how we do all this, but we're going to suspend for 2 minutes while I have a discussion with the clerk. You had moved a motion regarding in camera. So would you like to read out your motion that you're suggesting again so that everybody clearly hears it? I certainly didn't hear it clearly enough and understand fully what the implications are. Would you like to read it out again?
I mean, Madam Chair, it's not necessary that we should get this motion passed. I was, no, it was my suggestion. And if clerk feels that it's not necessary for this committee, because not necessarily this might be applicable to one committee, but not the other. So I have no problems one way or the other, whether this motion go through or not, but I can read it for you and the members again. That the committee may meet in camera only for the following purposes. Paragraph A, to consider a draft report. Paragraph B, to attend briefings concerning national security. Paragraph C, to consider list of witnesses. Paragraph D, for any other reason with the unanimous consent of the committee. That all votes taken in camera, with the exception of votes regarding the consideration of draft reports, be recorded in the minutes of proceedings, including how each member voted when recorded votes are requested. That any motion to sit in camera is debatable and amendable. I would like to withdraw my motion because I don't think it's necessary here. Right?
I think we should do it. I agree with that. I think it's a good motion.
Madam Clerk has indicated that she needs some time to look at what the implications are from her perspective to this motion. So can I suggest that we hold down Mr. Dhaliwal's motion to our next meeting, and we'll make sure that we all fully understand the implications, because there certainly seems some positives there, but that we hold it down until our next meeting, and we go ahead and deal with all of the other routine motions as amended.
Chair, I understand other committees have passed this motion. Mr. Dhaliwal has already said that himself, so I don't see why we need to wait. If we've got other committees that have already taken this and put it part of the routine motions, we should do the same.
Yeah,
yes, go ahead, Mr. Blakey.
Well, I was just going to echo Randy's comment. I've heard the same, that other committees have adopted this. I know that in the last session there were committees that adopted this, including, I believe, the Procedure and House Affairs Committee. So I do think it's not a motion that's come from nowhere. It's something that other committees have been doing, and I think, I think it would make sense to adopt the motion in order to kind of gel with the practice of other committees in that regard.
Well, the information that I'm receiving from our clerk is that it's inadmissible, and hence be the reason if we held it down to our next meeting and dealt with it at that time. If it's inadmissible, we won't be dealing with it, but if it's admissible and the committee wants to deal with it, we could deal with it at that particular time. Would that be acceptable to everyone?
Yeah, so I mean, my understanding is that it'll come back and be deemed moved then, as long as it's admissible at the next meeting.
Yes.
That's the way I understand it too. So it is moved. I agree.
Okay.
Like,
everybody's okay with that?
Unless it's not admissible.
Okay, and Madam Clerk?
Madam Chair, so we could say that we agree to it, and like we're all agreeing to it.
Well, I think the question is, does everybody fully understand the implications of it? And that's what we'll have some time from our perspective. So if we hold it down until the next meeting, the clerk will do her proper due diligence on it, and then we can have a fuller discussion and vote on it accordingly. Right?
I agree.
Okay.
Very well.
Wait a second, Chair. That's not what I understand Mr. Blakey to be saying the way that I interpreted. I interpreted that if she comes back and says it's inadmissible, then we'll deal with it. But if it is deemed admissible, then it's already been dealt with. Am I hearing that right?
No.
Well,
just to clarify what I think at that time we fully understand it's an admissible motion. We fully have a chance to discuss the implications of it, and at that point vote on it would be my thought process. But subject to what the committee is thinking. I seen the clerk attempt to get in here. Christine?
Well, the chair is the one responsible to decide if a motion is admissible or not. So if we could have a little bit of time, I could explain to her why my advice to her is that the motion is inadmissible, and maybe we can manage it in a way that it will be admissible.
Okay. Randy?
Yeah, the problem with that is you're deciding that behind closed doors, whether it's admissible or not, when other committees have already said this has been admissible.
Well,
So precedence has already been set on this in regards to whether it's admissible or not in the other committees, the way I understand it. So there should not be any question here.
We happen to have a very senior clerk, and very often, as you know, because you've worked with her for some time, it's often things that get passed. But if we could do it that way, but we would still have to have a discussion as to what the implications are, because I think the committee would want to have a comment on this, whether this is an appropriate motion or not. Mr. Dhaliwal, were you trying to raise your hand?
Yes, Madam Chair. This is my motion, and I would like to withdraw it, and I have the right to withdraw anytime. So I rather withdraw, and let's deal with the regular routine motions. I will withdraw my motion.
Madam Clerk, does Mr. Dhaliwal need the permission of the committee to withdraw his motion?
Yes, you need unanimous consent to withdraw a motion.
No.
We don't have unanimous consent. So can we go back, trying to find ways of dealing with this? So if we hold it down to our next, okay, I'm sorry, I don't know who's, Mr. Blakey.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, what is acceptable to me is that we would wait for the next meeting, and then at that point, it seems to me, you know, one of two things would happen in a scenario that I find acceptable. One is that you would come back and you would say that it's out of order, in which case we could then discuss the chair's ruling and perhaps decide to overturn that ruling if need be, and if it's the will of the committee. In the second case, all I'm concerned to know is that if it is admissible, that it will come back as a moved motion and that we will have the discussion and that we'll make a decision as a committee.
Yes.
What I would hate to see is that it goes away and it not be brought back, or that the person who moved it, you know, withdraws it. I think it's a discussion worth having, and it's a question worth deciding. So as long as we're going to decide the question at the next meeting with a vote, I'm satisfied that we can move on with the meeting today. I just want a reassurance that we'll have a discussion and a vote at the next meeting. Absolutely,
and a discussion. And I think that's important to make sure we all fully understand everything here. All right, is everybody okay with that? So, Mr. Dhaliwal, we're just going to receive that motion and hold it.
Thank you.
We'll come back for a full discussion and a vote at the next meeting if it's admissible.
I think you have Ms. Gray just trying to.
Yeah, I am. I'm just trying to finish the train of thought before I lose one of these screens. Okay. And we will have that discussion then, if that's okay. Ms. Gray?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just curious why this would have been approved of and is being acted on at other committees, and what the concern is. Because if other committees have already gone through this process, we're not setting new precedent here. What actually is the issue? And I mean, one option is to agree to this, and then if there's an issue down the road where there's some, you know, where we find that there's something that isn't admissible or that needs to be amended, we can make an amendment at that time rather than having to go through all of this again, because it sounds like we have a lot of consensus here with our group here in all parties. So you know, I would suggest that we vote on this, that we say that this is the direction that we want to go. And if we find out that there's some issue with it, we can always make an amendment of some kind.
Well, I certainly would prefer to hold it down, fully understand it, give us time for, we still have some additional work to continue today. Sometimes at committee, we don't always do things correctly. And I think if we want to make sure we are doing them correctly. So you've got Mr. Dhaliwal wants now to withdraw it, and he doesn't have unanimous consent. So I think it all deserves a separate hour of us discussion, debate. If I was to say to you that it was inadmissible, I will have to feel strongly that it would be inadmissible. And so I would not come back and say it was inadmissible if I did not have a full background to say why. And then the other committees would have to look into what they've done and maybe correct themselves. I don't know. But if we could just move on to adopting the routine motions as amended today, so we could move on to the next part of our agenda for today's meeting.
Point of order, Chair. What there was another motion by Mr. Dhaliwal, and then there was a concern raised by Mr. Raya. We haven't dealt with those yet. Are they just going away, or where are they? What's going on with those?
Okay. Madam Clerk? So we're all trying things new here today.
I think what Mr. Obak wanted to point out is that some members have expressed some reservation about the routine motions, and they had some things that they wanted corrected or amended. So since all motions have not been adopted yet, they are open for debate. They are open to be amended.
And what Mr. Dhaliwal, so Mr. Dhaliwal, go back to, yes, as Mr. Hoback said, you had moved two different things. So would you please repeat?
Yes, please, Madam Chair. On the time for the opening remarks, I would suggest that the witnesses be given 5 minutes for their opening statements that are the discretion of the chair during the questioning of witnesses.
Okay, so let's. Ms. Gray?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wouldn't be supportive of that. I think that there's good value in hearing from our witnesses. That's the whole purpose of them coming to testify. Lots of times there's technical information and statistics that they're giving. They're giving a lot of information, and sometimes 5 minutes is just not enough time to fulfill that. Although we could, depending on the volume of witnesses, potentially, look at having a couple minutes off if there are a huge volume, but preferably to have the normal amount of time, I think would be normal protocol, especially since this committee has only sat once since March. So I'm surely there are a lot of witnesses that do have a lot of new information to give us during that amount of time.
Thank you, Ms. Gray. All right, any further discussion? Mr. Hoback.
Yes, Chair. What we've done in the past, I think, fairly well. Whenever a minister came, it was always 20 minutes. 10 minutes was always the norm. And then if there was a vote or something that shrunk the committee, well, then the vice chairs got together with the chair, and then you decided what the appropriate time was to get those witnesses on the record. So it's very important, though, that they have their 10 minutes to get exactly their points across to us in an efficient manner to get it on the record, because that's why they're there, and that's why they're putting all sorts of resources into creating their presentation for us. So I can't support this motion. I agree with Ms. Gray. But I also trust the vice chairs and the chair. If they need to adjust something once in a while, you should have the freedom to do that.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Fadayan?
Yes, I think picking up on what Mr. Hoback was saying, provided that the committee give the chair the discretion, I think I would be comfortable with that. So perhaps instead of setting a specific amount of time, we leave it to the discretion of the chair. I would also note, in connection with our previous discussion on a previous topic, that other committees have also shortened the amount of time for witnesses. I believe PROC did this recently, so it would be consistent with what other committees are doing. But in the light of the conversation and the members of the Conservative Party raise valid points, perhaps we can simply make it at the discretion of the chair.
Mr. Hoback.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, I can't go with that. Again, you're asking somebody to present in front of the committee. They need to know how much time they're going to have. So it's 10 minutes is consistent time frame. If you say it at the call of the chair, then it puts the chair in the really bad position on trying to balance the needs of her party, which she is not really neutral, and what is right. And will always be under the accusation that she's overstacking the committee, or that she's doing things to benefit the Liberal Party instead of being the chair. So I think that's why it's important that you have it nailed down at 10 minutes. And like I said, if there's a unique scenario, then the chair and the vice chairs should talk about this and proceed as they see best. But you have to have the vice chairs involved in that conversation.
Ms. Chair, I have a couple points here. I would ask, is this a formal motion that Mr. Dhaliwal is presenting, and is it in order? And I'd be interested to hear from Mr. Dhaliwal, because he's been around as long as I have, and Mr. Hoback, and certainly yourself. And I'd just be interested to hear why all of a sudden, after 12 years in Parliament, he thinks witnesses should present for 5 minutes. I know myself, if I have somebody that I've recommended to be a witness for a committee and they're talking about something technical as a producer or processor in regards to trade, to me, it's only respect, especially if they've come from far away to Ottawa, to give them more than 5 minutes. So that's my point. And again, you as chair, I think it's the unwritten rule that you have discretion when you're trying to fit in a committee report or a study when we get down to crunch time, that you can tighten things up. But I think the point here is I'd like to understand from Mr. Dollywall why all of a sudden he feels it needs to go to 5 minutes.
Mr. Dollywall, would you like to respond?
Just please, Madam Chair, because the way I see it is this will give all the members more time to ask particular questions that witnesses will be able to address instead of them giving just their opinion. In fact, it's also very important that the committee members from all parties should have ability, as far as the time comes, to make sure that they're able to utilize their time the best to ask questions and hit the particular points that they want them to address. And that's the way I was thinking. I have no...
Thank you very much. So Mr. Dollywall has moved a motion that the time be reduced from 10 minutes down to 5 minutes. We need a vote on that. All those in favor of Mr. Dollywall's motion? Okay. All those opposed?
Ms. Grove, if I may.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Sorry, by motion of September 23rd.
Yes.
Votes need to
Excusez-moi,
be...
il y a un décalage avec l'interprétation. Donc,
There's a lag with the interpretation. Actually, could you give more time between when you say all those who are for and all those who are against?
There are 3 ways to express his decision: unanimous consent, on division, or recorded vote. So I think in this case we need to go with the recorded vote.
We can't hear you, clerk.
Yes. We cannot hear you, Madam Clerk. Would you please repeat that?
Okay. September 23rd, the House adopted the motion stating how the committee should vote. So it's either by unanimous consent, on division, or recorded vote. So I think in this case, it's probably recorded vote. I'm not sure, but it's up to the committee to decide.
Okay. How would the committee like to have this vote? On division or a recorded vote?
I guess it's a recorded vote because we're going to vote against it.
Okay.
Okay, so on the amendment of Mr. Dollywall to reduce to 5 minutes the time given to the witnesses to for the opening remarks. Mr. Aria, you have to say yes or no. I need to hear you.
Aria,
yes.
Unmute.
Yes. Ms. Bendayan.
Pour.
Mr. Dollywall.
Yes.
Mr. Sarai.
Yes.
Mr. Sheehan.
Oui.
Mr. Abul Taif.
No.
Ms. Gray.
No.
Mr. Holback.
No.
Mr. Lobb.
No.
Mr. Savard Tremblay.
No.
Mr. Blakey.
No.
Yeas 5, nays 6.
Okay, thank you very much. Does not carry. Mr. Dollywall, you have another motion you had mentioned as well. Do you have anything else there?
No, that's all, everything else as well.
All right. Any other comments before we deal with the routine motions as amended, subject to us clarifying this admissibility or inadmissibility of the suggestions that Mr. Dollywall that we will discuss at the next meeting? All right. All those in favor of the routine motions as amended, please raise your hands. soon we'll go like Mr. Tremblay was too. Okay. All right.
I saw unanimous. I think everybody had their hands up.
Okay, Madam Clerk. Can we proceed?
Would you invite the analyst to open their camera?
Yes. Would Bashar Abdul Taleh and Ofa Abel and Anne-Marie Thierry Tremblay, the committee's analysts, to activate their cameras in order to be part of this meeting? Ah, there we go. Okay. Welcome. Thank you. Good to see you all.
Excusez-moi.
Yes. Mr.
Excuse me.
Avant de poursuivre, ça c'était surtout des...
Before continuing, there were a lot of routine motions that were inherent to our committee's functioning. Does this have any bearing on the motions that we will be studying, or rather the studies that we will be carrying out? Right now, is it the right time to present to you motions on studies that the committee should carry out? Or will there be time by the end of the meeting?
There will be time. I'm just moving into that area now of other business to ask. Okay, I got to slow down.
Thank you very much.
So, all right, so we've done that. Does the committee wish to discuss any other business at this time? Mr. Savard Tremblay, you've already indicated that you wanted to introduce something.
Ah, donc finalement, c'est maintenant.
Ah, so it's right now. Now's the right time. Madam Clerk, I'm not sure if you have the motions on hand. They have been translated. They have also been adapted. These are proposals for studies that we could prioritize over the coming weeks. How should I proceed? It's a little difficult since everyone is on Zoom. I'm not sure, Madam Clerk, if you have sent these all by email. How did you proceed on this? I'm ready to send the motions that I've received to your P9 accounts. They have been translated into both languages. Would you like to send all of the motions or one or two? Well, given how much time we have, I don't know what order you sent them in. But looking at the time that we have left, I would suggest we look at the first two. One is motion E. Can you tell me what they're about? Yes, one on transparency and one on the interstate dispute settlement mechanism.
Mr. Hoback.
Yeah, just kind of curious how we're going to handle this, because if we haven't seen them, it's hard for us to decide how to proceed.
That was what I was, that's what I was about to say.
Any advice from the clerk and how they've done it in other committees?
Christine?
Sorry, we're doing three things at the same time. Anyway.
Okay, we've lost you, Christine. We can't hear you again.
It seems like when you go from French to English, it takes about a 5-second to a 10-second delay before the volume comes back up to normal.
Okay, sorry. Okay, there has as committees are different. There has been different ways committee have worked. So some have taken some motions, some others no. So maybe we could send all the notices of motions to the members, and those can be discussed at the next meeting. Or I could send right away, like within the next minute, the two motions that Mr. Savard Tremblay would like to present to the committee, and they can be discussed today or later as the committee wishes.
If I could just suggest, as I opened it up to say, if anyone wanted to discuss further business, they could suggest it today or send it on to the committee. I don't think it's practical for us to receive an email off screen, try and read it, understand the implications, and agree to it today. I think, again, we need time to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to send different points of thought in as far as different projects or studies that they might want to do. But not having already received that information prior to today's meeting, I'm saying as the chair, I think it's very difficult for the chair to be able to make any kind of a decision on anything without having had full time to look at it. So, Ms. Gray?
Et Madame la Présidente, si vous me permettez, pardon.
Okay, Ms. Gray had her hand up there, I think. No, you did.
Yes, I did. Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to mention that we have submitted three motions as well, and just to let the committee know they're topics that I believe will that there'll be a lot of consensus on, and as I know that there's been some, maybe some conversations that have happened. So the first one relates to well, actually, I myself have two motions, so I'll just bring those two up. We do have another member on our side that has also submitted a motion, but my motion relates to having for the main estimates, and which is normal practice because we do have a timeline for that, and I know a lot of committees have actually been voting on that on their first meeting, as we are having today. So I do have a motion on that to, invite the Minister of Small Business Export, Promotion and International Trade to the committee. And so that's a very brief and simple motion that we could potentially address today, because it's very simple, and I know that other committees are doing that as well. The second motion that I have relates to, that's also quite timely, having to do with the Canada-UK transitional agreement, and hearing from stakeholders because of the, as we know, with UK not being applicable to CIIT at the end of the year. And so this is very, very timely. And so I do have a motion that we put forth with that, and that is extremely timely. And those are the two that I have submitted. So perhaps there might be a desire to discuss those today, in particular the one dealing with the minister coming, because I know other committees have been addressing that. So,
okay, thank you. For a minute, can I go back to Mr. Savard Tremblay, because we were just trying to clarify what we were going to do, and I need to go back to him to give him an opportunity to at least reference the motions that he has submitted to the clerk.
Well, first of all, we submitted them, but I understand the fact that we just reformatted, so we could not send them ahead of time. Listen, if Madam Chair, if your recommendation, Madam Chair, is for us to just file them, I will ask the clerk to send them all of our motions for the next meeting, so that we can discuss them that time. But I would like to ask to be treated equally. If we cannot discuss my resolutions today, that we don't discuss other resolutions either. I think it's a matter of fairness.
Thank you, Mr. Savard Tremblay. I rest assured, Mr. Tremblay, something that's really important to me is issues of fairness. So I will go out of my way always to make sure that I am fair to every member of the committee. Ms. Badayan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think that just given the discussion around the table, it would make sense for all members to have the opportunity to read the motions that will be sent by email and to digest and assess those motions and those ideas for future studies. I would, however, like to propose that Ms. Gray has indicated that the study on main estimates and the invitation to the minister, might be something that we could discuss during the time that we have before us today. And I would welcome that discussion, and certainly think that, the proposal on main estimates is something that we could deal with today.
Okay. Mr. Sheehan.
Well, thank you very much, and again, it's a pleasure to be here today. And it would appear just on our first meeting that we continue this very collegial efforts on moving forward what's important to Canadians and to our constituents. I myself was entertaining putting forward a motion as it relates to alternative energy. However, I know that how important this meeting was to create sort of the ground rules, if you will, about how that discussion would happen and going forward. So for myself, I had determined that, not putting forward that motion now to deal with very important issues about our comfort levels of how we will deal with each other and how we'll deal with witnesses and very important topic matters. So I do believe that and Monsieur Savard has already said that he's willing to go forward. We've heard the parliamentary secretary and the new vice chair talking about one particular matter that would be almost automatic onto itself that I think that we could discuss now. But myself, I will not put forward my motions until the next meeting. And why I bring that up to you, Chair, I would like you to just inform the committee and to the people watching when we will meet in the future. When will these meetings be? I know there's been great discussion, amongst various people, like David Aiken was saying about how our committees are now meeting on non Ottawa days. We're meeting during constituent days. So perhaps to you, Chair, if you could clarify when we will be meeting and be entertaining these various motions going forward.
Thank you, Mr. Sheehan. Just a comment quickly. The House leaders are still dealing with what is our schedule going to be for the committee. So as of today, we still don't know. They have not resolved those issues at the point as of now. Okay. Mr. Blakey, I believe you had your hand up.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much. I would like to go back to the point of Mr. Savard-Tremblay, but I think it would be a good thing to decide on something, like something we could do as a committee today, since we do not know when we will have another meeting. So even though it's only on the main estimates, and to send an invitation to the minister for her to be able to work with a clerk to find a date and time. I think it would be good to do this today. And given this, I could wait for another meeting to present all of our ideas on different things, different topics.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hoback.
Yeah, I too have a motion, but it sounds like we're going to just table the motions as we normally do, and so it's no reason for me to read it in at this point in time if that's the course of action we're going to do. But and Mr. Blaney or Mr. Blakey, I think you've got some interesting ideas there as far as main estimates has to happen anyways. We have to have the minister in front of us for main estimates, so that's a no-brainer. That's an easy one to get off our checklist and get done. So why don't we work around that right now, and then it gives us time to have everybody else's motions put in place so we can all read at them, and then our next meeting maybe we can have some time set aside to look at them and prioritize accordingly.
Terrific idea. Ms. Vidayan.
Madam Chair,
Whoops,
I have raised my hand for quite some time. I have clicked on the button.
Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Please, this is all new system here, so just make sure I'm having to look to see where the handout or somebody's shaking their head. Mr. Blakey's on a rocking chair, it seems, and that's what caught my attention. So we'll figure this out as we go through the process. So
what I have done is that I have clicked the raise hand button. Even now, it is a raised hand.
Yes.
I don't know whether it's visible to you.
It doesn't show me a raised hand at all anywhere. I know where to get a raised hand from, but for you to say that you put it up there, I don't know where it is.
Even now it is up there.
If I may, Mr. Chair, you go in participants, you click on participants.
Yes.
And it will show you all the participants.
Yes.
And if anyone raised his or her hand,
yeah,
it will give you a lineup.
Okay.
So click on participants.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So you see everyone, and we see that Mr. Arya has his hands up. Wow.
Mr. Arya's hand is a nice conservative blue. I don't know if we're supposed to take anything away from that or.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, we can do it that way, or you can just wave or whatever to get my attention. All right.
Okay.
Can I go back to? I was at Miss Bedayan, and then I'll go. I promise I'll go right to you, Mr. Arya. Miss Bedayan, were you finished? I'm sorry.
No, I hadn't started, but thank you, Madam Chair. I just I wanted to firstly, now that my colleagues have indicated their intentions, also indicate an intention on my side to propose the continuation of the WTO study, which this committee had, I believe, progressed on for about an hour and a half before we adjourned and rose for the pandemic. And so I will also be submitting that, as well as one other motion for consideration of my colleagues. And I also will allow time for everybody to reflect on those, and will not read them into the record. And simply to point out, if we are moving on to a discussion on the proposal to study main estimates, that the minister is very much looking forward to coming to committee, and that I believe that we could find time based on her schedule for that to happen at the committee's desire.
Thank you very much, Mr. Arya. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I would like to have propose that the color of the hand symbol be turned red when it's a Liberal member. Then, Madam Chair, I fully agree that the motions be submitted in advance, and preferably at least 24 hours in advance. If that can be accomplished, that will be great. And then I agree with Mr. Sawat Tremblay that no other motion need be discussed today. If what I hear Ms. Gray and Mr. Bendayan talking about the main estimates and inviting the minister, if it is a formal motion, obviously we should not discuss today. But if it is not a formal motion, only then we can take it further. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Any further comments? So part of our regular practice is. Oops, sorry, Mr. Sawat Tremblay.
Well, I had also raised my hand on a system there under participants. I don't know. It's going to be difficult to get away with this new system, I think. We'll get used to it. I mean, we hope not to get used to it too much, because we hope to be able to meet in person as soon as possible. But for now, we'll have to get used to it. Now, I like to make something precise. I would have liked to send the motions ahead of time. When I send them to the clerk, it was with an advance notice. But since the committee had not been officially created, we were not able to present the motions officially. I thought that beyond the fact that we agreed on the fact that we would discuss them after sending them, could we still read them at least today? Do you think this is relevant?
To the committee, but if everyone chooses to read their motions, and by the time we get together again to actually deal with the motions, we'll probably have forgotten part of what was said, and we'll have to start it over again. But that's the committee's decision. Mr. Hoback.
Yeah, Chair, I really feel for you in this position, because we're all trying to figure out how to do this. Historically, what would have happened when we chaired committees, we just have a general discussion on where we'd want to go, and not necessarily even have motions in place. But motions maybe have to be more formalized in light of the fact that we're not all together, and we're not in the same room, and we're not, having those side conversations at the same time too. So, I think, though, when it comes to the main estimates, we don't have a choice. You don't need a motion.
No.
It's nice to have one. We have to do it anyways. So that's why I say that one's a no-brainer. That one should be done. And I agree with Ms. Gray. We can do that right now. Mr. Blakeney's saying the same thing. So I think you're seeing consensus amongst the parties to at least schedule that one first. And then the only other clarification I'd like to have is, I just want to make sure I understand right. Anything we've done before prorogation is gone, and we have to start from scratch. So Ms. Benyayan's motion or what she wants to study. I think it's a good study. I think we need to do it. I'm just not sure about timing on it, but it would have to start from scratch again, would it not?
I think, but the clerk can clarify that. I believe you can reintroduce.
We'd have to bring it back through a motion, probably.
You can bring it back and start it. There's a reintroduction process following prorogation. Madam Clerk?
I will send Ms. Bendayan the wording to write that kind of motion.
Okay. So then the only concern I have with that is, of course, concerned is we have quite a few new members of the committee. They weren't there. So if there's a way to have them brought up to speed so that they're at the same level playing field as everybody else, I think would be important.
Yeah, we could send the members. Like there was only one meeting on that, eh?
Good point.
And we didn't receive any briefs. So I would send all the members the link to the transcriptions.
Okay. Mr. Blakey?
Just on the point about the WTO study, I mean, I frankly think it would be better just to start the study again anyway. I would like to hear from Global Affairs again anyway. That was the briefing we got, but given all of what's happened in the last 7 months or so since they appeared, I think it'd be worthwhile to have them appear anyway. So I'm happy to go either way, but I think in any event, whether we restart the study or whether we carry it over, we would need to hear from Global Affairs again anyway. So for today's purposes, though, what I'm hearing is that we don't, now we're getting into a conversation about various kinds of studies. I'm fine to just leave that at the door, have people send their motions in, have them distributed by the clerk. So if we could get agreement that we at least want to discharge our duty with respect to the main estimates, invite the minister, and have that be what we decide today, and then have the other motions distributed so that we have time to read them for our next meeting, I would be very happy to conclude the meeting at that. So if we could get agreement on the main estimates and inviting the minister, and agreement that we're going to push forward the conversation about what other studies we have, once that's in place, I would be happy to move adjournment. So you just let me know how quickly you think we can get there. And I will do my part, Madam Chair.
It sounds wonderful to me, but I have Ms. Bedallion, Mr. Hoback, and Ms. Gray on the list.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I fully support what Mr. Blakey is proposing, and I think the members will see from my motion that what we would be proposing is to have officials come back, because there has been quite a bit of development and movement. There have been negotiations ongoing over the summer on WTO reform, so I think it would be relevant for officials to return in any event.
Mr. Hoback.
I think if we're going to deal with this later on, I'll deal with it later on, so I'll just turn my time over to Ms. Gray.
Okay, Ms. Gray.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was just going to say that we were going down the road of starting to debate whether or not we should be discussing some of the motions. So I was just going to divert us from that and just move forward to, now I do have an actual motion. I don't know if we want to call it structured as that, just with respect to getting the minister in. So would you be okay if I read that? Because maybe that's what we could bounce this conversation off of, just so that we have it in record exactly what we're looking for, and maybe not think of it as one of these big, it's not a it's not a study per se, like a lot of these other ones that we're talking about. So I do have something structured. If you'd like me to just read that, and then it's on record, and we can just maybe move forward and
okay, just let me clarify, because I think it's pretty natural that at the first meeting you invite the minister and you do your estimates anyway. So whether we need an actual motion or whatever, I have to go back to Madam Clerk. Ms. Gray was suggesting that can she read that motion into the record to invite the minister and that we talked about?
Yes.
Did she have to give additional time, or does she need unanimous consent to do that today?
No, the committee, it's up to the committee to decide how it wants to deal with Ms. Gray's motion. I just want to underline that the fact that to study the main estimates, there's a provision in the standing orders, which I don't have on top of my head now, but I think it's 81 something. So I don't know if she wants to put that in her motion.
Oh, subject to standing orders.
Yes, exactly. I think it's sometime we have to have it done by the 25th of November or whatever. So Does the committee wish that for Ms. Gray to read out a specific motion inviting the minister to come to committee and to deal with the main estimates? Or is it a unanimous
I think
decision that we do that?
I think all committee members agree on this, so I don't see it as being necessary.
Okay. So is everyone in favor of inviting the minister and that we deal with main estimate at our next meeting? And that, as Mr. Blakey so nicely pointed out, that everyone submit whatever your thoughts and ideas and studies that you think would be good for us to do. And then we will also have time to discuss all of those and prioritize them as we have done in previous committees as to which ones we would start first and so on and so forth. Is everyone in favor of that?
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
Madam Chair.
Can I, Mr. Sarau, you've got a hand up there. Is that, are you trying to get my attention?
I was just saying I was in favor.
Okay. I'll be happy with a regular hand. I don't know. Okay. Sorry, Ms. Gray. Please continue.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted for clarification the amount of time for the minister, because I know that sometimes ministers can be very busy and they've come before committees and have had very limited time. So we just want to make sure that we have a wholesome conversation and that all members will have enough time to ask questions. So just to ensure that we have a minimum of 2 hours, which I think is kind of normal, but you know, I just wanted to make sure that it was clear that we weren't just inviting the minister, but that we had that amount of time for our normal course of questioning.
Usually the minister will come and if she or he can be here for 2 hours, great. If not, it's 1 hour and then the officials would remain sometimes. But certainly we've been quite fortunate to have the ministers come and stay for quite a while because most of the issues we're dealing with are fairly complex. Okay,
Thank you, Madam Chair. If I can just add that I just want to be really clear that we do have 2 hours because, again, this committee has only sat once since March. So we're not a committee that has had the normal course of ministers coming and presenting. So it has been quite a long time. So I would like just clarification that we would have the minister for that whole time, especially for this first meeting, since it's been such a long time.
I think we can only, subject to the availability of the minister, but we will make the request that she be with us for 2 hours. And if her schedule allows for it, I'm sure she will be amenable to be here. Okay, any further discussion that we need to do? All right, would somebody like to move adjournment? Mr. Dhaliwal moves adjournment. All those in favor? The meeting is adjourned. We made it through it at least. All right. Thank you all very much. It was great to have this first bit of time together. And I look forward to our next meeting, and we will continue to pool our ideas and thoughts with one objective, and it's how to make Canada the great place it continues to be. And we can do it all together. All right. Thank you all very, very much. Thank you, Christine. Thank you, Madam Clerk, and to all the others that helped our analysts, that we managed to get through it reasonably well today. So thank you to everybody.
Good day, everybody.
Merci.